Now, Siobhan Donaghy was all of 13 when she joined a new girl group called Sugababes. She was a singer and a songwriter, but her experience with the trio was completely miserable. 3 years after she began, she quit, suddenly and in the middle of a promotional tour in Japan. She suffered what she's described as a complete breakdown. She thought her career in music was over at only 17, but she's back with a debut solo album, Revolution in Me. The current single from the album is Twist of Fate. Siobhan, you left the Sugababes very suddenly during the tour in Japan 2 years ago. Why did you suddenly snap like that?
I think it'd been a long time coming. I kind of known that I was going to leave for months, and I was being a bit of a coward. I known it wasn't what I wanted to do, and I knew it wasn't making me happy. In fact, it's making me very unhappy. So we had a bit of falling out, and I left, and it's the best decision I've ever made. I started sort of getting my life back on track after that.
How had it all started? Because you were very young when you began.
I met my manager when I was 12, and it was my best friend's brother-in-law at the time, and he heard me singing and wanted to sign me up, so he did. A year later, he met Mutti's father, so me and Mutti did a song together. One day she brought her friend down, Keisha, and we were a band. I think by the time maybe 13, maybe nearly 14. No, I would have been 13 when we all met, and then signed to London Records when we were 14, so it all happened very young.
And how much looking after of you all went on during this period? I mean, you were kids. Were you properly cared for?
I can't speak for the other girls' parents. I think for my parents it's really hard because not only was I that young, I was the youngest of 3 girls in my family, and, you know, I was the baby of the family, and yet I left school at 14 to have home tutoring to go off and start my career, and it was very bizarre for them, but I haven't got pushy parents. They were always whatever makes you happy, but they were never really happy with what I was doing. We weren't very well looked after, in my opinion, and it's probably went towards me leaving eventually the band.
And there were difficulties between the 3 of you, weren't there?
Yeah, it's no revelation that we didn't get on. We were just kind of worlds apart, but then we did spend 3.5 years together. I think it's quite a long time, and we were young, but, I mean, in the end it did just make me incredibly unhappy, so yeah, we were just very different people.
What was it like for you when you were there on your own in that airport in Japan?
It was awful. I mean, I was 17 when I left the band, and suddenly everyone that I'd worked with for the past 3.5 years literally disowned me. I was dumped at the airport, and, you know, I had to make my way home, and I kind of followed numbers through the airport, and it was the most bizarre experience of my life. And I don't know, you soon find out who your friends are when you're kind of left like that. And also, it was the first anniversary of my nan's death, and everyone was in Ireland for that, and it was just really upsetting because I thought, where are my priorities? And I'm out here doing this and wasn't where I wanted to be, and now it's a burden on everyone because I've left, and it just wasn't nice. It was really unpleasant.
You've reflected the depression that you suffered in the song that we've just heard, and there's another one we'll hear later. How bad did the depression get?
Well, I was clinically depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. You know, I hate saying it got very bad, and I couldn't cope. And in the end, it was very taboo, and I couldn't really talk about it with my family. Like, you know, go out with your friends and have a drink, you'll be fine, you know. Go out and have fun and get a hobby, and that wasn't good enough. I needed help, and in the end I did. A couple of months after leaving the band, I went to the doctors and got help, and I was on antidepressants, which was comes with a whole other set of problems. Yeah, I mean, it did get very bad. I mean, that again was really just shocking for my family, and I feel quite guilty. It's been very hard on my family. I've put them through a lot.
But what changed? How did you start to turn it around?
Well, kind of just when I was going on the antidepressants, my boyfriend also dumped me. I'm back together with him, but all this happened at the one time, and I really couldn't cope. And my sister was like, right, we're getting on a plane, we're going to Ibiza, and we're going to have some fun. And we didn't go out partying, we just kind of sunbathed and relaxed. And but I did run into Johnny Rockstar, who worked on the One Touch album with the girls, and he got me back in touch with Cameron McVeigh, who kind of took me under his wing and got me writing with some of the younger kids in the studio. And, you know, there was no pending release date, there was no management. I was kind of just writing for therapeutic reasons, and I do love making music, and I think I'd forgotten that. doesn't have to get as complicated maybe as it did.
Now, some of the songs are quite overtly political. There's one called Iodine, which is
Yes.
about Bush and Blair, using an analogy of pre-Christmas turkeys. How important is it to make that sort of statement, and what is the statement there?
The thing about the turkeys was, it's very bizarre, but I read an article, and it was just before Christmas that we wrote it, and there's iodine on the floor, which is the chemical. It's for hygiene reasons, but it burns off their feathers. They're pumped full of hormones and killed at 6 weeks old, and that was our Christmas dinner, and I thought, how bizarre. Do people know that? And I just thought it was awful. Also, it was pre-war with Iraq, obviously, and it's definitely not an attack on Tony Blair. I have faith in him. I was just feeling kind of a bit misinformed as everyone else was, and I kind of made the comparison.
There is no left wing to fight the right wing. We're like turkeys in a box, our feathers all plucked off, and we're all ready for Christmas Day. Here's the paradox, we're like presents all wrapped up, and we can't wait for you to give us away. Acceptable face all over the place. The lower you stoop, the less the disgrace. You use all your charms to sound the alarm. Have you got the legs to call us to arms?
I know that now you've been touring pubs across the country, and your sister's now doing your makeup, and your friend is your backing singer. How important is it now for you to be surrounded by people you really know well?
It's really important because I kind of learned that I wore my heart on my sleeve and openly trusted everyone that I met. And it's unfortunate, but you can't live like that. And a lot of people let me down. So I just wanted to be wary. And also you're travelling a lot, and it's nice to have a bit of family around. And I've got my stylist from when I was in the Sugababes, who's one of my dearest friends. And it's just really nice. It's, you get up in the morning and you want to go to work, and it should be like that, I think.
The Sugababes, though, have had 2 number ones and won a Brit Award
Yes.
since you left. Any regrets that you left before that happened?
Oh, God, no regrets. It's definitely the best decision I ever made to leave that band, and I've never looked back. I do wish the girls well, and good on them, they've done very well. But after hearing what I said, I mean, no number ones would have made me happy. And now it's kind of not what I'm striving for. I enjoy making music, and, I want it to be critically acclaimed, and I want people to enjoy it, but kind of figures and stuff like that, I'm not that bothered about.
I know that your favourite song from this album is Little Bit. Why do you like this one the best?
It's my favourite song on the album for a couple of reasons. It is the one song where I do kind of talk quite openly about my depression, and in quite a frank way. And also, it's I think, the most beautiful piece of music I've ever worked on.
Feeling everything, all the problems I will bring. You might think that won't pay. There's one word less that you can say. Fooling us like you fool yourselves. You're in danger from your wealth.
I was talking to Siobhan Donaghy.